But we're going to move on to the on-track action for the weekend now, and we're going to start with a massive contrast as we look at the battle from 1st to 10th. So, bit of an odd comparison, I'm sure you can appreciate. But McLaren top with the standings with 516 points, mean with Alpine's lowly haul of 20. If McLaren win the race, it's very likely that they will be officially out of the championship hunt. Now, I know this will come as no surprise to a lot of people, but given Alpine's pace in pre-season, does it surprise you that mathematically they could be out of contention before the summer break potentially? And what do you put that down to? And obviously the contrasting fortunes of McLaren and Alpine for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, McLaren have just kicked on so well. I mean, they obviously won the constructors last year, but it was very tight between them and Ferrari. And we can criticize Ferrari for falling back, for not being fully optimized, and those are fair criticisms. But McLaren are just absolutely flying, you know. I'm sure if they keep going at this pace, they will have the highest ever constructors total. They'll be close to 1,000 points because even Max Verstappen, when he was winning every single race a couple seasons ago, the second driver was nowhere near him for the most part. So the actual constructors total was never ludicrously high, but McLaren are absolutely heading for that. They've had 3 1-2s in a row. They've had 4 1-2s in the last 5 races. They are absolutely flying right now. So we can criticize Alpine, and don't worry, I will. But McLaren have been absolutely record-breakingly good this season. They have been incredible. But yeah, Alpine, I mean, flatter to deceive really when it comes to testing pace and all that. It just shows you can't trust testing times because you don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're sandbagging. You don't know if they're going for these headline lap times. And clearly they were trying to do that, but even then weren't really blowing the field away. But it comes down to a few different things. They've created a car that is clearly difficult to drive. Franco Colapinto is a very, I think he's a decent driver, but he's really, really struggling in that car. Jack Doohan was not pulling up any trees either. But yeah, Gasly seems to get a decent amount out of it, and he's picking up points. I mean, 20 points for him by himself is pretty good. That's not too bad for a midfield runner. But overall, the car is just not particularly good. The engine isn't helping. They claim they're losing 2 or 3 tenths a lap every lap because of the engine compared to the rest of the grid. And I can believe that. I do think that's probably accurate. And with how tight the midfield is, and we'll get onto the points like we were speaking about before the show, it's so tight in that lower midfield. And especially in qualifying as well. So if you're 2-3 tenths off your teammate or 2-3 tenths off the competition, that's the difference between 10th and the back. So there's a few things going on there, but overall, you have to say, with the resources at their disposal, they're a works team. They are funded literally partly by the French people, by the French government. It has been a monumental failure. It really, really has been. They're going to be begging that Mercedes produce a good power unit next year to get them back up the grid. But even then, operationally, they're an absolute mess.
Well, yeah, harsh words indeed. And people say that I have bad things to say about Alpine, but yeah,
there's nothing good to say about them.
No.
10th in the constructors, they're last.
Yeah.
There's nobody worse than them.
Gasly's doing a great job. That's the one positive. And if you look at, I know it's very simplistic to say this, but if they had someone scoring similar points to Gasly, they would be in the fight with everyone else. They wouldn't be adrift in 10th place. And I know obviously it's only 15 points. That's one podium and you're back in the fight, but they seem a million miles away from a podium, and they've only scored 20 points in the first 12, 13 races. So it's looking difficult for them.